Welcome to the Luxe Leap. My name is Reland and we chat with women-led businesses making bold moves, big wins, and the secrets to extraordinary branding. So I have a question. What if your company's next best hire was already on your team and you just didn't know it yet? Swati Garg is here to change how we think about talent inside and out. She's the founder and CEO of Melo Associates, a leading talent firm with two powerhouse offerings: executive recruiting for revenue protection and expansion roles across SaaS, tech, manufacturing, and consulting, and a game-changing employee mobility program that helps companies reduce attrition and unlock growth by activating internal talent. Swati is the recognized leader, thought leader, speaker, and co-founder of CUSP, a thriving customer success community in Chicago. Her insights have been featured in USA Today, Yahoo Finance, and more. And this summer, she's adding author to the list with the launch of a collaborative book and a bold new chapter in her personal brand. A serial entrepreneur and creative problem solver, Swati is always building, always asking, what else is possible? Please welcome the visionary redefining how we grow teams, careers, and companies, Swati Garg. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited.
We're going to have so much fun. I can't wait. So I like to kick it off with the tried and true question. Maybe one day it'll change, but for my listeners, you know what's coming. What inspired you to start your brand? Give us a brief Reader's Digest version of your company story.
Yeah, so it was an accident. So I actually was starting to look for a job in the tech space and networking every single day and get it. I got my first project within a month, and then I got another project, and then I got another project. And I think it was this idea of like, I realized I loved being independent, and I was very disciplined, and I was very organized, and I was making good money on my own. And I was like, I don't think I need to work for someone else. So after 6 months of part-time freelancing and looking for a job, I went full-time. And I was a generalist at first in recruiting. And I loved it. I mean, I was filling roles. My network was being very activated. But I was told that I needed to be an expert in something. And so I didn't know what that would be until I found my first customer success client. So I was referred to a company that was growing their CS team. I didn't know anything about it, but the leader was like, that's okay, I'll teach you. I want to work with a small shop. And I fell in love with it. It was so challenging, and it was very difficult to find. Nobody was doing this in 2017. And so I was like, this is what I'm going to focus on. And with that, as the function changed and the business changed, and like we changed and we've evolved and we've grown, but we really started off with a very specific niche and have grown with the function and with the space. And that's been really good for us.
That's absolutely incredible. I love that. And I love that they trusted you to do it. We don't hear stories about that level of trust very often anymore. It almost feels like you always have to be the expert, yet we all internally know experts are built by getting that experience. And so that leap of faith that they had with you is beautiful. So thinking of that, and also thinking of many other places within your journey, what pivotal moment in your brand's journey really defined where you are today?
I think kind of going back to getting that first customer success client, because that first year in 2016, when I started freelancing, I was doing everything. I was doing engineering, I was doing marketing, I was doing IT, I was doing sales, I was doing all different things. And I really did love it. But not really having a business background and not having like a business family, I was just really learning on the go and taking advice from really anyone that I could. So when I was referred to that first client, that was my biggest client really in that first year. And I was like, whoa, this is a whole different ball game. I found someone that like wants to teach me, which to your point is amazing and rare. And it just changed the whole game. I was able to up my terms. I was able to up the way I talked about my work and the way I approached my work. I built like all these processes, and I was really able to build a brand. And from there, that's when I started So I hadn't like branded Milo Associates at all for the first 3 years. I didn't have a website. I didn't have anything. And now today's age, it's like, oh my gosh, you didn't have a website. All I had was my LinkedIn. So everything was word of mouth. And so going from getting that first client really gave me the push to be like, okay, I really need to, brand myself and build that site and kind of build that brand recognition. So it took a few years, but then I started doing all of that. I think that first client changed everything.
That's really incredible. And I think that the fact that you didn't have those things speaks to the testament of your tenacity, because I cannot tell you how many times I have worked with somebody who's like, I can't do anything until I have a website. And I'm like, well, why? Don't you need money? Like, that's usually my thought process, and usually tosses people for a loop, because as a brand strategist, you would assume that I'm like, oh no, you need a website. You need all these things. I'm like, no, you need a proven process that makes money
Right.
so we can communicate it through your website. So I
Right.
honestly think you did it the right way.
Thank you. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous now. Like when I tell people this, they're like in shock, but it worked. I mean, I didn't have a tech background. I had no idea how to create a site. So a friend helped me like maybe 2 years in and created like the most basic site on WordPress. And I thought it was like magic. I really did until I got, like, then a year later, I got a developer and, we have miloassociates.com. But I mean, she just helped me create something where people could find me. And it really felt like magic. And when you don't have a skill set and in something, it like, especially something that technical, and now I know it's so much easier, but 8, 9 years ago, it wasn't that easy.
Oh, 8 or 9 years ago, it was not easy.
Yeah.
It was not easy at all. Gosh, a little bit longer than that. I remember being at art school and in a coding class. Now, I was the math kid in art school. Art drawing 101 put me in tears because I'd never sucked at anything a day in my life. And I think I squeaked out a B. Thank you. And I squeaked out a B because everybody told me not to draw this shoe for my final project. And I said, no, I'm drawing the shoe. And they're like, shoes is hard. And I was like, I don't care. Drew the shoe. It was beautiful. But in that space, I remember being in coding class, and all those kids who had a hard time drawing had a really, really hard time coding sites. And I was like, oh, I'm good at something. But it was not easy.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's not easy. And now it's just like we can drag and drop things that I always explain to everybody. I'm like, I'm not a designer, but I know how to get the flow going for you. And that's more important, because otherwise you can get any template you want on the internet. It doesn't mean you know how to make it effective. And
Exactly.
that's actually, Swati, I think that speaks to the change that we're watching happen in real time. Back in the day, you had to code everything. Now we have AI.
Hmm.
And so now it's our brains that are going to be more important and how we think than the effort of doing. That is I don't even know if there's a question coming out of that, but just a realization, and how we both spoke about websites just now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that there's, the level of like knowing the prompt in AI, or knowing how to ask the question, or how to have a conversation with AI. Like those are the new skills, which, is mind blowing, right? There's so many different sites. I just learned about, I don't want to name drop any specific brands, but I just learned about a new site that where I can like build anything with no code myself. And it's something I've been wanting for years, right? I hated the idea of relying on someone else every time I had an idea for a product or a tech thing or something like that. And I'm so excited. I'm going to start playing around with it this week. And it's just, I mean, it feels like magic. It feels like all these resources at your fingertips. And it's going to change the world, and change the way we do business, and change the way we do how we live, really.
I really believe it. I think it's going to challenge people to be, well, it's going to challenge thought leadership. Like I was telling you, I was in that one talk on Monday, and this also sort of came up, was the idea of like, we're going to become mono thinkers if we allow it to think for us, because it's just taking our thoughts and synthesizing them, or taking
Mhm.
some people's thoughts and synthesizing them. So if we really want to be thought leaders, how are we going to apply our thoughts into that space in
Yeah.
order to start to get it to um have different perspectives, really truly, is that concept of different perspectives. And you know you and I, both thought leader women, like we have different ways that we think the world should go about doing stuff. And I love what you said is like, you have to be a really good question asker. You need to know how to hold a conversation. You need to know how to challenge in a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's going to be those of us who know how to do that well that are going to super succeed. And if you don't have that skill set today, dear listeners, ooh, that sounded very Bridgerton. If you don't have those skills, you need to start to develop those skills, because that's all they are, is something you can learn how to do.
Yeah. And I think that people undervalue how much they can actually learn.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with the resources we have now, I think there's very little that you cannot learn without um, needing like a big educational background or certification or anything like that. Like you can just go and learn it. So I agree with you. Like go do it.
And it's the desire to learn. I was talking with my son's dad, and he's like, "Well, he doesn't have to go to college if he doesn't want to." And I said, "No, it's not an option." And the reason I said it wasn't an option is because I don't know that, you necessarily need a degree to do XYZ unless you're like a doctor or something. Something that holds like a high title. But I think college teaches you how to keep being a life learner and how to start to question things. And I think that is an underrated skill that comes with it. And it shows in how we have conversations like this, where we're both like, no, you can go learn something new. Like you can learn it no matter how old you are.
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful thing to want to learn. Like I'm learning how to play chess right now. I don't even know why I decided chess was a thing, but I decided I'm going to learn how to play chess. And I think that, and I have it at my fingertips now. I don't have to go anywhere. You can learn chess on Duolingo.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I also love chess. So if you ever want to play.
When I'm in Chicago, I will let you know, because I do want to learn how to play against a human instead of a computer. That would be pretty cool. We'll see how many months I'm in it. Well, let's look to the future. I mean, we are kind of looking to the future, but let's look towards your future.
Yeah.
And what are your long-term goals for expanding your brand's impact?
There's so many different things going on right now. There's so much change going on right now with us and with my business and with me. Like tech has changed so much in the last 2 years, and it's made us think, and it's made us have to kind of like dig deeper than we were. So personally, I am looking to grow my personal brand and community. I have a new project coming up later this fall, winter that I'm really excited about. I'm really also really excited about a launch coming up in the next couple of months. So we have a collaborative book coming out in a couple of months, where me and 5 other customer success thought leaders are collaboratively writing this book. We've already announced it, and it's coming out, and we're really pumped about it. So that is really exciting. And then I think overall, the way I'm thinking about things is I want to make products and services that keep the individual at the center of it, right? Even if we're working with companies or working with people, right? Really thinking about what's going to help my audience the most to move forward. So recruiting and employee mobility is an avenue for how we do things. And I think we're just working on building more avenues.
That's beautiful. And I'm really excited to see your book, touch it
Thank
in
you.
real life. I love buying the books of folks who've been on this podcast. So let me know when I can grab it. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, just I love and believe what you said about keeping the individual at the center. I think sometimes we start to think about the bottom line and all these things, but you have no bottom line if you don't have the people that you're working with, whether they're clients or internally. Like internal clients is what I'm going to refer to them as, because you have just as much,
Right.
if not more, writing on how you treat the people that work within your organization. And I don't know that in the last few years we've done a great job of taking care of people.
I think it's been really hard, and I think it's been hard for everybody. I think it's been hard for companies. I think it's been hard for leaders. I think it's been hard for people to take care of themselves with all the change that's been going on. I know I felt it. I know a lot of other people that have felt it too. It's just been, I don't know, it's been really challenging.
The world needs to take a collective deep breath.
I know.
And um,
That can be your next podcast. Breathing.
breathing. We're just going to take a deep breath and breathe. Breathing with Reland Logan. I actually go. Have you ever been to Portland?
I have not. It's on my to-go list.
Okay, well, let me know because we have some of the best food in the world. Fun fact.
Ooh, okay.
Just ask Netflix. But the highest point in the city is in a neighborhood, and there's a park at the top of it. It's called Council Crest, and it's not that far from my house. And I will just go up there and like sit and not only the only thing my phone is doing is playing meditation music because I don't want to hear the teenagers playing, and just sit and stare at the city.
That
It
sounds
is,
wonderful.
it's been life changing. Not gonna lie,
Oh my
in a world
gosh.
that's go go go. But yeah, if you get a chance to come out here, so Netflix did a documentary on food, and Portland was the first city. We have a
Okay.
lot of food carts, a ton of food carts. You'd think I was in the business of branding food. I'm not. And I'm in the business of eating it though, personally.
Yeah.
And but there's just so many diverse types of food here, and a lot of famous chefs come here. James Beard himself was from here, I believe. Nobody quote
Okay.
me on that and correct me if I'm wrong. But we're actually building a James Beard food hall downtown.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
it's, yeah, come out here, but come out like early fall, summertime.
Okay.
That's when it's the prettiest, unless you really love cherry blossom trees. And we have these famous cherry blossom trees that were gifted to us from Japan. But yeah.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, honestly, I would say Chicago has the best food in the country. So now I feel like I have to compare.
Now you have to come compare it. I will gladly be your food tour guide. Don't you
I love
worry.
that so much. Okay. I'm going to take
And
you up
I've been to
on
Chicago.
that.
So, um, well, and here I will say it feels like going to New York without the price tag as far as food goes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we
I'm
all know
going to
New
take you
York.
up on that.
Okay, yeah, it's a cheaper food experience. Um, do you? Everyone's gonna be listening to this and laughing. They're gonna be like, "And here goes Raylan down a rabbit hole that has nothing to do with nothing." Yep, you're all welcome. Um, do you watch Food Network?
I do not.
Okay, well, if you ever watch Food Network, there's a lot of like chef influencers.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know. Do
I
they
know
have
what it's
fancy
about.
names?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there is I mean, Portland and Washington, like here's the borders, right? If you go up just a little bit to one of these casinos up in Washington, they will all come and do like all these food tastings. So you can like walk around and taste their food, and it is, and like have full conversations with them. It's a lot of fun.
I
All
love
the
it.
secrets hidden here. All the food secrets. Okay, I have not eaten breakfast yet, everybody. This is why we're talking about food. Getting back on track here. So, Swati, when we think about things that aren't food related and we go back to customer success and your book and all the things that are in the pipeline, how is your marketing strategy going to adapt to support that brand growth and this new layer of thought leadership?
Honestly, that's probably what we're still trying to figure out a little bit. I think our main avenues have been email marketing and LinkedIn.
Okay.
I have LinkedIn as my main platform, has been for years now, for decades now, and I'll continue to build our email list. And I think the with the new services and with all the changes with the business, just growing our audience there has been really helpful, and we've been getting really great traction on that. So that's what I've been doing. I don't know if you recommend something else or if you think that's a good idea, but that's what we've been doing.
Hey, I'm a firm believer, and if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to reinvent a wheel. Those two things work very, very strongly. I think that, it's not necessarily going to come in changing that tactic, but just restructuring the messaging that is filtering through those tactics, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like, because when you add author, when you add some of the things that I know that you're changing up, we just need to change some of the messaging because it's going to attract a new audience into that sphere. But we also don't want to negate those who have been supporting you that entire time. So sometimes the simplest thing is to work on your messaging. However, it is easier said out loud than done. I'm going through it personally myself right now. I'm sending out surveys and the things to like get an idea because I never expected this podcast to go where it went, and so that does shape and change the structure of my messaging. But the tactics and the channels that I have built over time, to your point, LinkedIn is also one of my biggest success places is to just adapt that messaging. For me, moving towards a YouTube strategy as well, just because we're seeing success of this being on video. So what does that look like if the things I talked about on LinkedIn were to make it that way there as well? So
Yeah,
that might be one of the only tactics I would add to yours if you're not already using it.
we
But
are using YouTube.
so there you go. So, and then they all filter into each other. All roads lead to your email list. I'm a firm believer in that. So I would just say it's tightening messaging as things change.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I think one of the biggest things, I know you're not asking me this question, but I'm just saying that one of the biggest things I learned as a founder, and like what I tell other people in the future, is like start your email list early. Like I made the mistake of starting it too late, even though other people were giving me that advice, but I was so overwhelmed with like what to put in the email and what content to put out that I delayed it just like a little too long. And I should have just bit the bullet and like jumped in. And I think that is my biggest advice to anyone that's starting anything new is like to start that email list right away, because and that's why I put so much emphasis on it now on my marketing strategy, because that was just something I did too late, and it was on me. It was like no one else's fault. I was just so overwhelmed by it at the beginning, and I just wanted to focus on what I knew.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't even think you have to be a marketing expert to like, or non-marketing expert to say like, it is the most overwhelming thing because they're your personal thoughts being sent to somebody else and
Hmm.
then they can have an opinion on it.
Right.
And that's really scary.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, like it's terrifying. And so, um, I have I'm a very strategic thinker. And so my process it's very intentional. So the first thing I do for people is video audits. The next thing that I do, if I feel that they're a good fit, is I offer to do what I call a brainstorm, which is a strategy session. And if that makes sense, I will invite them to a Making Waves intensive. So I don't know if you knew this, Swati, but I will do rebrands, messaging, restructuring, website, whatever's needed based on the strategy session in 2 to 3 business days. Sometimes that includes full photo shoots. Sometimes. Then, but I do have one offering towards the end of that, if it makes sense. And I only let like 5 people in a year, which is to do extraordinary authority. And that includes email, but it's this idea that you can get 52 weeks of all of your social content, your main big body content, and your emails done to last you a year to get people going through that. And I think that I've started to watch people have less stress when it comes to email because it's just done and it's like written in a way that is helpful. But if you wanted to add an extra email because you felt like it, you can. But you're not beholden to this idea of the social media hamster wheel. Whoever came up with that term, really, like kudos. I don't think the world, if you really deserve a nickel for every time one of us has said that. But there's just this idea that you can really get a lot of it done forward facing so you can focus on the other things and then go make the changes necessary. But I don't know about you. I enjoy vacation. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of vacationing. I'm a huge fan of just not being home. So I like things to work for me when I'm not here.
Yeah. It is really nice when you don't have to worry about like the day-to-day
Yeah.
things, like, and then you can kind of focus on like the special projects or the special announcements or things like that. I really like that approach. I don't know many people that do a year of content in a short period of time.
They don't. It's going to be one of those, you heard it here, or like a few people that I know that also do it. But you can get it done, I'd say like a month.
Yeah.
We usually take a year just because I like to take quarterly photo shoots.
Okay.
I'm that kind of person. Because people change. You look different. Styles change.
Yes.
Anybody still have a headshot from 2005? Fix that. But it's definitely something to consider as you grow, and then be able to filter in those fun stories. One of my favorite stories has to do with whale watching. I still use it to this day, and I think we went whale watching in the start of 2021.
Oh, wow.
And I got real sick, like ugly sick. It was a good time. But I still talk about it. So if anybody wants to do that, start collecting stories in your life. random stories like whale watching stories. And then, or you can ping me and I will share about it. I think I have a secret YouTube list somewhere. All right, you ready for these fun questions, Swati?
I am. I'm so excited to hear what they are.
Okay, that means everybody, we are towards the end of this podcast, and I feel like you guys got a lot of structural advice from the two of us, probably more than is generally shared here. So save this one because it's gonna save you time in the future, we promise. So, Swati, what does a day living a luxurious life look like for you?
Ooh, like, is this, wait, I have to clarify a question. Is this hypothetical or is this like my current luxurious life? Like, what does that mean?
Either one. If you're living your current level of luxury, then by all means, tell us what you're doing
I'm
today.
not.
We want to.
I'm not.
Okay. Then what would you love to have?
But I was like, sometimes you have you splurge. Um, okay, I guess I don't know. I think I would have a beautiful beach house in Hawaii,
Ooh.
and I would just have all of the people I love there with me, and we would just have the best day of swimming and sand and drinks and food and just be very chill and actually disconnect and decompress and I don't know, just have a good, fun day together in a beautiful space that I would like to call my own.
That's amazing. I know. I have a home on Maui on my list of places to have just
Yeah,
to disconnect. It's so beautiful there.
it's so beautiful. I haven't picked my city in Hawaii. I just went for the first time a couple months ago and I fell in love. And I knew I'd fall in love with Hawaii before I went to Hawaii. But when I got there, it like confirmed everything.
It confirmed. Which island did you go to?
Went to Kauai and Honolulu.
Oh my gosh. Okay, of all the islands, I've yet to be to Kauai, which is wild because I have family there.
Oh wow, Kauai's
Um,
beautiful. I mean,
I
it's the
respect.
first place I wanted to go, and I'm glad I was able to make that
Oh
happen.
my goodness. I don't think you knew this about me, but when I was a little girl, I lived on Oahu. So
Oh,
going to Honolulu was a normal occurrence for me.
oh
My
my
step
gosh,
family's Hawaiian, so I've gone a time or 20 and I've been to almost every single island. My grandparents live on the Big Island.
that's
I
amazing.
love it there. I love it there. I will get married there. I love Maui because it's quiet, but there's a bay that the whales come to give birth to their babies, and I just love seeing baby whales. That's actually how I ended up whale watching. Um, but you have to turn off engines when whales are near you or go under your boat, and I get really seasick. So, and this whale had these two males like circling her, and I was not cool with the whale having boy problems. But because I was about to throw up, and they're like, you have two options. You can puke, which would be puking on a whale, or you can get in the water. And I was like, have you seen how big that thing is? So I was really afraid she was going to come up for air and like just knock our boat over because we were like in a raft. And Grayson was, oh my gosh, how old was he? I think he was 3, going on 4, like 3.5. And I was best day of my life, most terrifying day of my life. Not gonna lie.
See, I didn't get to whale watch in Hawaii, but I have whale watched when I went to Cabo, and it was the coolest experience ever. Like the whales literally put a show on for us,
Yes.
and they were like flipping and doing all sorts of things. And the tour guide was like, "This almost never happens," and I just felt so lucky. And like, so yes, I'm sure you had. I've never seen a baby whale though. That sounds so nice.
Go in February. Go like January, February. That's when they're giving birth, and they're
Okay.
so, gosh, they're so cute. They're just so cute.
I love
Um, and then their parents are very intimidating because they're massive. Um,
it.
and when you're that close to something that big, you realize that you're really not that important.
Oh,
Um,
agreed. A
yeah.
1000%.
And it was because humpback whales aren't going to harm you, but like they could unintentionally because they just don't know you're there.
Yeah.
So there's that. All right. So last one, best one. In one word, what is your primary motivation in business?
Wow. I need a second to think about this one. I definitely was not prepared. So for anyone listening, she does not prep us on these questions. So this is really honest.
Hence the reason we asked them last.
Can you just ask me that question one more time?
Of course. In one word, what is your primary motivation in business?
Oh my gosh, I have multiple words coming up and I'm
Say
trying
them
to.
all.
I can't. You said one word.
We can cheat.
I think, fine, I'll say a few. I'm cheating. But I think like I motivate myself, so self more than anyone. I want to help others like take action and heal. I think are the other words that are coming to mind. I really think it's about helping people thrive, and that's really what everything that I've done and will continue to do is really, really about.
I think that's beautiful. I think you said one word that encompasses almost all of that, which is heal.
Yeah,
Because I don't think anybody can thrive. I mean, you're self-motivated and that's beautiful, but some part of you had to heal to do that. And, you know, and you have to take action in order to do it. So those are all beautiful words.
Thank you. One was hard, so thank you for letting me cheat.
Oh my goodness. I love getting to this question because we have heard some funny things. Like one lady was like, no, I pre-gamed. I was like, you pre-gamed? Like we're 21? It was, she's like, I'm ready. And then she gets to it. She goes, I'm not ready. And I was like, don't worry, nobody ever is. So
I mean, that's a hard one. I mean, one word to embody your entire life purpose, like that's a pretty hard question.
it's a deep question.
Yeah, it's very deep.
One person that got me because usually I'll be like, why? And they're like, you said that was the last question. I was like, well, here we are. Oh my goodness, this was way too much fun. Swati, how can people get a hold of you?
Honestly, LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn all day, every day. So connect with me, send me a message. I'd love to chat.
Oh my goodness. This has been absolutely incredible. Thank you to everybody who's listening. We literally wouldn't have a show if you didn't. So we appreciate you for taking the time to learn all about Swati and her story and where she's taking things, and hope that you're having a big, beautiful day and living a super bold and extraordinary life. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.